Hello, tarantula lovers, and welcome back to Tarantula Haven. I'm Alex. I want to apologize for not putting a video out on time this week. I'm a teacher, school started, and I had other priorities. Pretty excited about this episode. I got a brand new mic, and hopefully we won't be hearing a lot of that background AC hiss. Also, I messed around with the settings on my video editing software. I had an old one, I upgraded to a new one, and I didn't check the settings on it, so that's why I had that ugly letter box around it. So I finally figured that out and got rid of it. Got some new specs and they fit a whole lot better, so they probably won't be sliding down my nose and I won't be doing a whole lot of this. And I got my hairs cut too. I'm also pretty excited because I've got a few students at school that have started following me, so I want to give a big shout out to my students at Jenkins Middle School. Hey kids. This episode I'm rehousing a few tarantulas, so I'm going to demonstrate that, and I also want to talk a little bit about enclosures, so here we go. So you've gotten your first tarantula. Next thing you know, you've gotten another tarantula. And then next thing you know, you've gotten yet another tarantula. And then you start looking at all the different species that are out there and all the different colors that they come in and sizes and temperaments. And that's kind of when the addiction kicks in. At least that's how it was for me. So I started attending reptile shows and expos looking for spiderlings, of course, to increase my collection. And one of the cool things is that when you buy a spiderling, they usually come in their own enclosure. They're either in a little deli cup or they have them in these little dram capsules if they're arboreal. And unless you have something prepared for them at home, that's their enclosure for a little bit. Now, I understand that they do sell those nice little fancy acrylic enclosures with the vents already put in them and everything, but those things can get pretty expensive. I'm a teacher, I'm not no gazillionaire. So I found myself that I can't afford to be buying all these different enclosures for every single tarantula that I buy. So one of the things that I started doing is being creative or getting creative about the enclosures in which I keep my tarantulas. So my family started noticing that I was acting a little bit strangely whenever I started going out to places because everything was a tarantula enclosure. I was looking at everything in that perspective. Let me give you an example here. you can see that you can get pretty creative with anything as far as an enclosure is concerned. Just going into the store and you start looking at different things that could possibly be turned into an enclosure. Personally, I like to use these little stackable boxes like this for my terrestrial spiderlings. When they get bigger, I move them over to something bigger like this. And all you have to do is take a soldering iron and drill some little holes in there for ventilation, and you're good to go. One of the things that I find a little bit difficult to find is enclosures that I could use for arboreal species. There seem to be lots of little boxes that are flat and wide like this, but you don't find too many small containers that are tall that you can use for an arboreal. So I found myself getting pretty creative with that type of enclosure. This is actually a salt shaker that I got from the dollar store, and all I did was drill some holes in the side, and there's actually a little P metallica in there, a little Poecilotheria metallica, and I've had it in here as this enclosure for a little while, and I'm ready to move it to a larger enclosure. I happened to find some of these little jars like this at Michael's, and they were on sale for like $1 a piece, so I'm going to transfer it over to this. I personally don't like this as an enclosure. This is just a last resort kind of thing. I would prefer something that was clear where I can see the spider a lot better. So that's why I'm switching it over to this, because it is clear, although it isn't as tall, but it'll do until they get large enough to transfer to a bigger enclosure. As far as a larger enclosure, I use these. These are these little clip lock enclosures. Again, I got these at the dollar store. I don't like that they're opaque, but they'll serve their purpose until they get larger and I can put them into a larger enclosure. For larger enclosures, I tend to use these mainstay jars right here that of course are used for storing dry goods. I buy these at Walmart, and they come in a smaller size and a larger size, and you can keep a pretty large tarantula in this larger enclosure. But you don't even have to do that. I took this is like a peanut jar, and when we ran out of peanuts, I just peeled the label off and took it off and washed it out, and you know, there's a tarantula enclosure. Another thing that my family thought was strange of me was that I started to collect bottle caps. And the reason I started to collect bottle caps is because they make excellent water dishes. And if you drink water, bottled water, you know, these are great for spiderlings. You just put these in there, put a little bit of water in there, and you got an instant water dish. So you save enough of these, and if they get dirty, you can just throw them out and replace them with a nice clean one. Personally, for the larger slings, I prefer these larger bottle caps. This came from an orange juice. I think this was from grape juice, and this came from like a drink. So, you know, Gatorade bottles have a nice wide mouth on them, so those caps would make excellent water dishes. So I end up finding lots and lots of little bottle caps that I keep around simply to make water dishes out of them. So there's no shame in finding different things that you can use as an enclosure. As long as you're meeting your tarantula's needs, they should be fine. This one is just like it's like a pepper shaker or something to that effect, and it even has the flip tops on it, but I just keep it locked and had put some holes in it. But again, I like this one because it's nice and clear. So I had a tarantula in there. I've cleaned it out since then, and I'm ready to put another tarantula when one gets big enough to put in there. Okay, so I promised you some rehousings. What I have here is a Psalmopoeus cambridgei, also known as the Trinidad Chevron, and she's about 6 inches now, so she's ready for a bigger enclosure. She's far too big for this one right here. I did pick up this little enclosure right here at a reptile show. I believe it's a Zoomed enclosure. It was only $18, so I thought, you know, that the price was right. However, I'm not happy with it. For one thing, I didn't realize that the lid just popped up like that because it was all wrapped up in cardboard. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to secure it a little bit better. Also, I don't like that the screen top is like this. They can get their feet caught in the screen lid, so I'll probably replace that with plexiglass and drill some holes in it. That'll also help to keep the humidity in the enclosure as well. One thing I am happy about is the fact that I found some nice cork bark. I love this particular piece of cork bark that I got, and if you can see there, It has a nice open top there, and toward the bottom it has a nice little hole too. A lot of times tarantulas will have more than one opening to their hide, and this gives them the opportunity to go either way if they need to escape from something. So it probably makes them feel a little bit more secure. And I'm going to add a plant in there too, so that we can have a better environment for her. All right, and hopefully she'll like this new one. As far as Psalmopoeus cambridgei is concerned, they are considered to be aggressive, is what I've read. Now, I've got some experience with her. This particular species has been very docile for me. I have never seen her give a threat display. I had her ever since she was about 3 inches, and she's always been very calm. Now, I know that they are fast moving and that they can move really fast, and that they do have a tendency to be very defensive, but she has not displayed that at all. So I'm feeling pretty confident that she's going to just kind of climb on over for me. I don't like using the term aggressive. To me, aggressive implies that they're kind of out to get you. Tarantulas are not like that. Tarantulas can be defensive, and defensive means that they will defend themselves if you approach them, and that's probably a more correct term to use rather than aggressive, because they do not tend to go after you. For the most part, they will try to run from you. All right, so let's go ahead and do this transfer here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer her to this new one. Let's see if she'll make it easy for me or not. Right now she's on her hide, so let's see if I can. She's turning around. She's getting a little bit nervous. If I can get her to stay on her hide, which she's not going to do. Yes, she is. Okay, we can make this easy. All I have to do is bring her in here. Oh, she's going to try to climb up. Use this to nudge her down. She likes her hide. She doesn't want to leave her hide. And sometimes one thing I've noticed is arboreals can tend to be very stubborn and not want to leave their enclosures. I've had a hard time pulling some out, and then when they do leave, they tend to bolt. But she's always been very good. She's curious. And come on, let go. And that's that. So she's in her new enclosure. I hope she likes it. Now, as I mentioned before, this particular species can tend to be defensive, but like you just witnessed right there, she did not give a threat display. She wasn't defensive in the least bit. She was more just trying to avoid me messing with her, and she tried to go into her hide there. That hide that she has is actually very narrow, so she didn't fit in there very well, so that's why she just kind of clung to the outside. But hopefully this new enclosure with the new cork bark that I have for her, she'll be a lot more comfortable. I'm trying to find a male for her because she's of breeding age, and hopefully I can make some more Trinidad chevrons. But she's very chill. I love this particular species because they are an excellent display species. They like to sit out in the open. She'll web up around her cork bark, around her hide, and kind of make a little funnel. And she'll just kind of hang out there, but she loves to roam around. I see her all the time. I once babysat Psalmopoeus erminia, which is a Venezuelan sun tiger, and I never saw that thing. Every single time I walked in the room, it would bolt into its hide. And these guys are not like that at all, and they're kind of cousins. They look similar except for their, the darkness of their coloration. But these guys are very chill, pretty bold, like to relax on the outside, and they are voracious eaters. And they grow very fast too. She grew very, very quickly from 3 inches to 6 inches. I don't know the exact time span of that. Okay, so now I'm going to transfer my Poecilotheria metallicas. They're probably not going to make it as easy on me as the cambridgei did. The cambridgei is a New World arboreal or semi-arboreal. These guys are Old World arboreals. They're very fast. They're lightning fast. These guys are about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And they, even at that size, they still have the potential to bite you and pretty much mess up your day. I've read bite reports where people have been bitten by inch and a half, 2-inch spiderlings that they just kind of dart up their arm, and next thing you know, they've gotten bitten. So I have to be really careful. I wish I had something that I could use, use like a little cup to transfer them into. I've seen Tom Moran's videos where he does them. He does an excellent job in transferring tarantulas from one place to another, minimizing any potential of danger to himself. I'm just going to try to use this little paintbrush to kind of coax them into the new enclosure. They tend to be a little bit unpredictable at this point. Some of them will jump right in. Others will try to avoid it, and they'll try to run around as much as possible. So hopefully I'll be able to transfer them over easily. I've got my catch cup just in case. And we'll see how I do. Okay, get some light here. Now, Poecilotheria metallica tend to be somewhat photophobic. They don't like to be out in the light. So whenever I bring them out into the light, they have a tendency to want to run and go down to the bottom of their enclosure and stay down there. Sometimes they'll just kind of run around in a circle all the way around the enclosure, but usually they don't try to venture out of the enclosure. Okay, so I got the lid off, and it's already moving around. So I'm going to try to get this piece of stick out of there. Got that. Okay, so here comes the hard part. Let's see. Hopefully he'll run straight down to the bottom. Come on. Come on. Yeah, he's being stubborn. Doesn't want to come out. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, got a little molt there. Alright, so he went right over, straight to the bottom. See if I can zoom in on that so you can see him. There he is. Now, he looks a little bit gray right there, but it's kind of neat. I didn't think that they would be displaying colors this soon, but if you put the right amount of light on them, you'll see their colors start to stand out even at an inch and a half. So that was an easy transfer. Just put the lid right on. And I'm good to go. I got 5 more to do. I was really excited about getting the metallicas. I bought 6 of them from Pet Center USA. Paul Becker was having a BOGO sale, so I got them for about $35 a piece. The Poecilotheria metallica was considered at one point to be pretty much the holy grail of tarantulas. You could get a spiderling for about $200 when, or more when they first came out or when they were first introduced into the hobby. But the prices are going down really, really fast. I've seen other places selling them for about $40, but I think I got an excellent deal at $35 a piece. I didn't expect it truly, because when I bought them, they were not buy one get one. But then when I got my shipment in, there were 6 of them in there. I had only bought 3. So he was getting ready to have his buy one get one sale, so he gave them to me at that price. So I was really, really happy. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait till they get bigger. I bought 3 of them to increase my chances of getting a female. Hopefully now that I got 6 of them, I'll end up with more than 1 female. So let me do another one here. And hopefully this one will go just as easy as the last one. Alright, there's another molt in there. Let me get this stick out. And he's hanging out at the bottom. Alright, here we go. Come on, buddy. This one is wanting to dart around, so he might be difficult. Let's see. Come on. Oh. And he made it easy for me too. Alright, so a lot of people demonize this species because they are so venomous. If you take precautions, if you are aware of their habits and their behaviors, then you can almost predict what they're going to do. And the key is to be calm. If you are extremely calm and take slow movements and, kind of coax them easily, a lot of times you can get them to do what you want them to do. Sometimes, yes, they will bolt. If they bolt, the key there is to be prepared. Make sure you have some kind of catch cup. If you notice, I've got a little tray around it so that in case it goes down, it'll stay in the tray. They will even bolt out of the tray. So again, you don't panic, you stay calm, and you should be able to be successful with these. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button below. If you want to see more, subscribe. See you next time.